Hi, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We'll go ahead and get started with an opening statement from Coach and then go into questions. If you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand, get my attention. Coach?
As a football program, we are looking forward to this Saturday. Opportunity for us to honor our 95 Rose Bowl team, honor a group of people that, it's one of the most iconic teams in all of college football history. Opportunity to honor an incredible coach, an incredible group of players, incredible group of coaches, and something that we've been looking forward to, and certainly looking forward to celebrating that group on Saturday. The best way that we can honor that group is having a great week of preparation and preparing ourselves to accomplish our mission this week is to position ourselves to find a way to beat Purdue. Having an opportunity yesterday and this morning to review the Penn State tape as a staff and with our players this morning. There are a lot of things that we need to continue to improve upon and make progress in. But ultimately really proud of the way that our guys handled a hostile environment, the way that we responded in difficult situations, having a punt blocked, early in the first quarter, muffing a punt at a critical time in the second quarter, that ultimately did not allow us to capitalize on some momentum that was building. Were signs that we got a resilient football team, a team that understands what it looks like to respond, and ultimately a team that took a lead, lost a lead, and found a way to win in the fourth quarter. So plenty to clean up, but certainly a lot to build upon. Being able to go on the road in the Big Ten and come home with a win, is something that has an opportunity to build confidence. And how do you continue to build off that confidence? You build off of it with, a great week of preparation. We got a really good Purdue football team coming in here. Coach Odom did an exceptional job in his time at UNLV. Has done a great job in his short time at Purdue. Great football coach, great defensive mind. He's hired a really talented offensive staff. They've done a good job with their personnel. Yet to find a win in the Big Ten. But again, we've talked about this, as a group before. It's any given Saturday in the Big Ten, and you better bring your best every single week. And Purdue presents a lot of problems. They're well coached, good personnel. They held Minnesota, that traditionally is a team that runs the football as anyone, as well as anyone in the country. I believe they held Minnesota to 30 yards of rushing this past Saturday. Offensively, they're going to tempo you. Very talented on the perimeter. Quarterback is a competitor. That does a good job in the pass game, extends plays, and can be utilized in quarterback run game. Going to be critical that we have a great Monday practice this evening and continue to focus on daily improvement.
Dave?
You had some big wins in 23 at Wisconsin in your bowl game. A lot of people are looking at this game this past Saturday as a signature win. Is that a fair way to look at it, do you think?
From the outside, Dave, I don't know. I don't know if it's a fair way to look at it. What I can tell you is, we challenged our football team in fall camp. Going back to May, we challenged our football team to be Big Ten ready. What did that look like? It meant guys getting back to full health. It meant guys meeting their weight goals. It meant guys being stronger at the end of May than they were at the beginning. Fall camp, we challenged them that our mission was to prepare them for the arena. Like, fall camp was going to be more difficult than anything they had ever experienced through their football career. In post-Tulane, we challenged our group, you're prepared for the arena, but you haven't proven it yet. And in week 2, we proved as a football team that we can do it in the arena. In that case, against Western Illinois, it was a Friday. What I can say about Saturday is this group should be able to look at Saturday and acknowledge that when we have a great week of preparation, when we communicate and we play as a team and have all 11 on the same page and we execute at a high level, we should feel abundantly confident that we can compete and beat anyone in the country. But there also has to be a certain level of humility and understanding that if we don't do those things, there's any team, we can be beat by any team in the country as well.
Ted?
Coach, there's been good progress made in running the football against Oregon, UCLA, and last week against Penn State. Those are all Big Ten teams. Those are not, maybe an opponent might look a little weaker on the schedule. That is something that I'm sure that you're going to press upon going forward. This is who we want to be.
Yeah, it is. It comes back to who are we? As we had a chance to evaluate where this team was at, a critical piece in our formula to win in football games has to be to win the rushing battle. And the final stats didn't win the rushing battle against Penn State, but if you take those sacks out and you look at the yards gained, we did. And I give Coach Lujan and our players a lot of credit. The run game early against Penn State wasn't, anything to awe about, but we were moving the line of scrimmage. We were efficient in the run game. We were staying ahead of the sticks. And the fun part to see is you got in that fourth quarter and you saw those last two drives, you really start to see things pry open and show evidence that you're wearing down your opponent. And the time of possession was critical to our success on Saturday. I think our defense only had to defend 51 snaps. Really proud of the way that our defense played, but ultimately we were truly delivering on playing complementary football. But that has to be something that isn't an occasional thing. That has to show up every single week. And our group has proven to have the ability to do that so far.
Well, Coach, the big thing is you stuck with it.
Yes.
You stayed with it, and it paid dividends in the final quarter of the game.
It did. It's a credit. It's a credit to Coach Lujan. There had to be a level of patience there and trust with our guys. And huge credit to him. Huge credit to the offensive line.
Matt?
Over the last 3 games, I think there's kind of been a common denominator, with a phrase that you use sometimes, you want your team to take a breath. UCLA late in the game on defense, ULM after the opening drive, and then Penn State after the block punt. Where did you kind of find that phrase, and what do you think leads to your team's ability to reset and respond?
Yeah, I think it's something that has probably been messaged 100 different ways from me, over the last few years or throughout my entire career of coaching. But honestly, it's something that Coach Lujan talks about a lot. And it's you know what? I like the way that he's phrasing that. I'm going to start using that, not just with the offense, but the entire team. It's when we talk as a team, Matt, about things that are critical to our success, we need to lean into our intelligence that we have on our football team. These are guys that not only are playing at the highest level of college football, but they're earning degrees from Northwestern. We got a smart group. But you have these high achievers, hyper-intellectual, smart individuals that at times are so prideful that they can get in their own way. We need to play smart and trust our preparation, but we need to play decisive. And we need to do a great job of flushing whatever's behind us, whether it's good or bad. And it's really just an opportunity for us as a team. Hey, we're going to take a breath. We're going to forget about the past. We're going to focus on the present. And to answer your question directly, stole it from Coach Lujan.
Jake?
Coach, you evoked Gary Barnett with the Expect Victory mantra post Penn State. With the 30-year commemoration of the Rose Bowl team coming up this weekend, how are you sort of deriving lessons from program history and pairing them with this year's team's unique identity? Yeah,
I think that's kind of the fun part. There's a lot of fun parts about being a head coach, and then there's plenty that's not so fun. But the best programs that I've been around have a certain level of reverence for what has come before them. And that's something that I never want to lose at Northwestern, whether it go back to Coach Barnett, Coach Walk, Coach Fitz. Things that we acknowledge and appreciate of the successes that this program has seen both on and off the field. But this year commemorating the '95 Rose Bowl team, I've done some of my own research, and it was really neat. Pre-Oregon game, was in with Joel Klatt, who was at Colorado and knows Coach Barnett, and we had talked about the phrase "expect victory." But he actually took me through a exercise Coach Barnett went through every single year at the beginning of the season. Who are we, where are we going, and how are we going to get there? Like, I'm immediately scrambling for a pen and I'm taking down these notes, and it couldn't have been more perfect timing, because 24 hours later we're frustrated after a loss to Oregon, going into a bye week, 3-week sample size, and literally that's the exercise that we went through as a program over the bye week. Like, we better find out who we are. We better really put a clear line in the sand of exactly where we're going that aligns with our goals. And we better ask, like, how are we going to actually get there with our actions? And, whether it came directly from Coach Barnett or not, he gave us some pretty sweet nuggets here at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Coach, you talk about after games, you have about 24 hours to relish in that and enjoy it before moving on to game preparation for the next week. Obviously, this win against Penn State was pretty monumental just in terms of what everybody thought that Penn State team was going into the season and for most of the season. What was that first 24 hours like for you? And did you have any conversations with anybody or anybody that reached out to you that really stuck out to you?
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, the things that stand out to me are just those moments with the players and with your staff, in the locker room, getting back on the bus, boarding the plane. I mean, it's even moments with, Dave and Ted on the plane. I mean, it's just, there's something really special about going on the road in the Big Ten and finding a way to come home with a win. And, man, you'll cherish those because they're relationship driven. You'll cherish those moments for the rest of your life. And it's because you're proud that you accomplished something together. Ultimately, neat to have people reaching out to you. The fun ones are, how much it means to your family, guys that you've coached with, close friends. But it does like challenge you to help yourself refocus. You wake up Sunday morning, it's like, hey, it's time to get back to work. It's time to go evaluate this film and be really objective. And like when you are objective looking at the film, like we have, I mean, there are some glaring issues that we need to get resolved right now. And there's a great opportunity for us as a staff yesterday to meet, evaluate the tape, and then get to work on Purdue. You can squeeze that enjoyment into that evening, but man, if you're not on to the next step, when you're in the midst of a Big Ten schedule, you're exposing yourself to a letdown in this league. There can't be any letdowns.
Dave?
Getting back to 95, have you had any communication with Coach Barnett, and how do you position this with your players who weren't even born yet in 95 to explain what that team meant?
Yeah, Coach Barnett and I got a chance to spend a little bit of time together the first spring that I was here for a golf outing. It's really neat to spend some time with him, spend time with others that have been close with Coach Barnett and Coach Fitz for a long time. Kind of was my initial glimpse into just an understanding of how special that group is. He's someone that will always be welcome around this program, and I know he's much more frequently out in Colorado, but excited that he's going to be back this weekend. And he may not even know it, but I mean, whether it's reading his book or just hearing through others about the way that he approached things, always taking nuggets from him. In terms of approaching it with our team, Dave, I think that's something that we tried to do a really good job of, even in fall camp. I mean, really referencing back to this team specifically, but also all the other great teams that have come before us, and having a certain level of reverence and appreciation for those that have come before us. When it comes to this week, it's an opportunity to acknowledge it with our team, but also not allowing ourselves to get out of the focus of ultimately we have a job to do, and that's have a great week of preparation to position ourselves for success on Saturday.
Charlie?
Coach, 2 weeks ago you said that you felt worried that he still had a little bit of rust to shake off. Now, 2 weeks later since then, what have you seen from him on the field, and how do you feel that he's really shaking that rust off?
You can just see the confidence build. Sometimes that rust is more just, playing football and getting back into a rhythm than anything else. You can see that. He's made some critical plays these last couple weeks on contested catches. The interception that he makes down in the end zone in the first quarter was huge. And he's just playing with good technique and, stay in frontal and has an opportunity to have his eyes on the football and does a great job of finishing. And then one play that won't get pointed out or may not get pointed out, but third down explosive play for Penn State that ultimately leads to a touchdown. When we're up, I believe it was early in the fourth quarter, but he chases that guy down and makes an incredible effort play. It ultimately does not result in us getting a stop, but it did result in a lot more time coming off the clock. And I think it just shows who Ori is. And, you should have seen the excitement that he was showing on the sideline with that fourth down stop. I mean, that dude is just so excited to be back at it. And it's been really neat to see the progression the last couple weeks. He's back to himself.
Right here.
Hi, Coach. Just wanted to get your reaction to Penn State parting ways with Coach Franklin yesterday and how you reflect on his tenure there.
Yeah. It's heavy. To be honest with you, if you start to process through it, it bums you out. Coach Franklin and his family, that entire staff, have definitely been on my heart here the last 24 hours. To be honest with you, it's kind of shocking. I mean, the success that he found, he put his heart and soul and spirit into that place for over a decade, did an incredible job. And, to see the news yesterday was tough. And it's not only Coach Franklin that's affected, but there's a lot of other coaches, a lot of other families, support staff, a lot of players that are all affected by it. So, we all know what we sign up for when we, get into this space and are coaching football at this level, but that doesn't make a decision like that any easier. It's tough.
Matt?
Coach, you talked about the 95 reunion and the connections to the past. Matt Fortuna reported that Pat Fitzgerald RSVP'd yes to the reunion. Do you know if he'll attend the game or take part in any of the in-game honors?
I don't know if he will, but Matt, I can tell you, I hope he does. Fitz is one of the most iconic Northwestern football players of all time. One of the best coaches to ever do it here. Was a critical piece of that Rose Bowl team. We're really hopeful that he is a full participant in Saturday's celebration.
Jake?
Coach, Calvin Campbell and Mason Main were both thrust into elevated roles with Anto unable to go this past Saturday. How did that sort of just speak to the next man up mentality in this defense and this group as a whole?
Yeah, it's one of those things you maybe don't necessarily want those roles elevated for whatever reason, but that's just part of the Big Ten. When we're talking about the three things that we need to deliver on, in terms of hey, how are we going to get there? We got to be the toughest team in the country in terms of our resiliency. Another factor in that is our urgent development of our entire roster, and ultimately the example of those two guys in Callan and Mason, those guys aren't ready for that moment if they're kind of sulking and feeling sorry for themselves, or not I'm a 3, I'm not getting a ton of reps, I didn't play much, the past, whatever it may be. And those guys just have continued to work and work and work and prepare, and then their number's called, in a Big Ten game on the road. And we're not talking about a game that's separated by 2 scores. Every play is just so critical, and they step in and play at a really high level. It's a credit to Coach Smith. It's a credit to Mason and Callan. It's also a credit to our entire program in terms of the priority that we put on development of everyone that's on this roster.
Charlie?
Do you expect Anto to be good to go this weekend?
I do.
Anna?
Coach, your time playing at the Lakeside Stadium is coming to a close. When you look back at being able to play games at such a unique venue, what's going to stand out to you?
Gosh, the thing that'll stand out to me is, just how uniquely it's Northwestern in terms of just the whole process to get it going, all the people that were a part in making it happen on such a short timeline, and just this creative solution to a really unique obstacle. It has been an amazing bridge to the new Ryan Field. So far this year, we've started to create some momentum on the lakefront in terms of creating a home field advantage. That needs to continue on Saturday. We need Wildside out in full force. We need Wildside there for 4 quarters. Make a huge impact on the game. And we got to send out, we got to send it out the right way. The thing that I think I'm most proud of in terms of what it's done for our players is just the fact that it's truly home. The opportunity for our players post-game to, go shower, get changed, spend time with their families, whether it be at a tailgating lot or, going out to dinner. We're not traveling an hour and a half back to campus. The experience for our student athletes, for our players the last couple of years, I think is what college football should be, and I'm glad that we were able to deliver on that.
Matt?
You mentioned, how Ori's kind of come into his own at quarterback. You're also having, Josh Fussell coming back healthy. You had Damon Walters for the first game this year. How are you working Josh and Damon back into the rotation, and do you see them potentially being full starters again this season?
Yeah. I mean, these are good problems to have, in terms of the depth that's now been created in that room. Josh's absence, I think, really provided an opportunity for a guy like Ori to step up and Fred Davis to step up and some of the youth in that room to really step up. But now with Josh's return, we're going to be mindful about how we integrated Josh back in, just coming back off an injury. But he looked great, played at a really high level. I'm sure there'll be some level of rotation that goes on. I mean, ultimately, if you expect to consistently win in the Big Ten, you better at least have 3 corners that you can really count on. Excited to have Josh back. We'll figure that rotation out as the week goes along and just seeing how practice goes and evaluating that. And then again, Damon, I think similar to Ori a couple weeks ago, you could tell Damon was a little rusty, wasn't himself. But so excited for him to have a full week of preparation, a full week of practice as we prepare for Purdue. And, you got 2 guys in that safety room and Robert Fitzgerald and Garner Wallace that are playing at an incredibly high level. But again, a good problem to have. How are we going to figure out getting our best 11 on the field? But Damon Walters certainly has to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Coach, with Anto and Aiden, the big names on the edge, one of the names that's really flown under the radar has been Michael Kilbane this season, who you guys have had line up all over the defensive line. Really had a chance to show out with Anto out of the lineup. What can you say about his development this season, what you've seen from him, and specifically stepping into that much larger role this past Saturday?
Yeah, he's the best. I mean, doesn't say much, just gets to work. It's funny. He's one of those guys that flies under the radar outside the building, but in the building and out at practice, he's not under the radar. The guys know. I mean, I think Mike is playing at a level that's reflective of one of the better defensive linemen in the Big Ten. The future is so bright for him. His position flexibility is awesome, and excited for him to continue to grow and just. He's comfortable out there, but continue to understand the impact that he can have down in and down out and the impact that he can have on games.
Couple more. Jake?
Coach, big game from Mac Beeline this past weekend, made that huge stop late in the 4th quarter. I mean, what have you seen from him just in terms of finding more of a voice as a leader and also just raising his level of play to another level from last year to now?
Yeah, I've just – this is going to be redundant and, kind of cliche, but it's consistency with Mac. He just every single day, the urgency, the intentionality, his willingness to just speak up and demand excellence out of himself and everyone around him. Where I've seen awesome growth is you can tell that Mac is a senior that knows that he is going into the midpoint of his last year playing college football. And it means so much to this entire team, but it means so much to that dude. And just his willingness. It's fun for me as a head coach, the interactions I have with our captains, the interactions I have with our leadership council, the interactions I have with our guys post-game. It's not just a bunch of fluff where we kind of talk about stuff. We're talking about real things in terms of what we need to do in our messaging to prepare this team, for victory and a successful week. It's even little things post-game. He's like, Coach, can I say one thing to the team? Yeah, man, let's go. He's bold, and he gets it. He understands what it takes. Pretty special to coach a young man like that.
Yeah.
We saw Hayden Hellegon go down with what looked like an awkward injury at the time, but was able to get back up. Can you shed any light on what happened there and how he's doing? Yeah,
he's doing great. Just a cramping issue. I think that's 2 weeks in a row now. Hayden's having a heavier load than he's accustomed to. That's some stuff that, like, you know, we got to continue to evaluate to make sure, you know, he's preparing himself for this heavier load, so that this stuff doesn't bubble up anymore. But simply a cramping issue. He's doing great. He'll be a full participant today.
Last one, Charlie.
You've had the opportunity to coach some really high-level receivers in your time here. What do you think maybe separates Griffin Wilde from some of those other guys you've had here?
Gosh, that's a good question. Because when you start talking about how he separates you, like, ultimately each have their own skill set. Like AJ Henning had something about him that, man, like, just could flat out go. You know, Cam in 2023, like, there was just something about him, especially at the end of the year. Like, that dude, the ball was going to find him. He was going to make a play. You know, the things that Bryce was able to do the last couple of years, and I go back to Minnesota in 2023, the fourth quarter, the game that he had against those guys. The thing that stands out to me about Griff, exceptional route runner, great hands. I think he tracks the ball really well. But ultimately, like, and this isn't saying that the other guys didn't have this, but the two things that stand out to me about Griff are his route running ability, like just the timing that he finds with quarterbacks, specifically Preston, and then secondly, like an unfazed competitor. It doesn't matter, like, the Griffin Wilde you get on a Tuesday practice out here on the lakefront and the guy that you get in the fourth quarter at Penn State, they're the same dude every single time. He's just the ultimate competitor that's unfazed by his environment. Pretty special quality to have as a Big Ten wide receiver.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everyone.